Hi guys, welcome to the first video of our Ascent to Progress video series. Today, I'm excited to welcome our first guest, Miss Adebukola Ajao. She's a dynamic digital marketing consultant, educator, and small business advocate whose work is really making an impact. Ajao's work is strongly rooted in academia. She holds a master's degree in digital media marketing from Northeastern University, where she's also an adjunct professor teaching digital marketing with a focus on social media. Her impressive and diverse career spans over 9 years, during which she's worked with major clients like Verizon, curated impactful events with institutions such as the Isabella Stewart Gardner Museum, and helped more than 30 brands craft their marketing strategies. In addition, she's also an entrepreneur herself as the founder of BDY Consulting, a marketing agency dedicated to helping small, impactful businesses grow their brands through empathy-driven strategies. Alongside her professional career, she has also found time to be a youth advocate and a judge for Black ambition, fostering opportunities for underrepresented entrepreneurs to thrive. Her commitment to empowering small businesses and nurturing future talent truly sets her apart. Welcome. Okay, so first I'd like to get to know you a little bit more. How did you get into marketing?
Hey everyone, my name's actually Adebukola.
I'm so
Ajao.
sorry.
No problem at all. How I got into marketing is a really long story, but long story short, I was taking a course in college, called Black Twitter. So this is when Black Twitter was booming. I studied political science with a concentration in Africana studies. And so I took a course called Black Twitter, and that was my first introduction to digital. I actually walked into the class without ever having signed up for Twitter, and the professor was like, "You literally get an F on the first day. How do you not sign up for Twitter?" And the class is called Black Twitter. At the time, I was a correspondent and writer for the Huffington Post, and at that time, I was writing different stories. This is the time that um Michael Brown was killed, Trayvon Martin, like just Trayvon Martin, so many different deaths in the Black community at the hands of police. And so I was reporting on this. And then like I would write stuff, right? Submit it to my editor would edit it, they would publish it online. And then it went something called viral. And I'm like, what's viral? Like, what does that mean? Like, why is my phone going off? Like, I don't understand what's happening, right? Because I'm just on the writer side. I'm on the reporting side of this. And that was my first introduction to marketing, right? Like I ended up learning the process of like being an editor, how editors, put things together and promote them and how they get so many eyes on them. And I said, you know what? I think I want to be on that side of the aisle. And so I started my marketing agency shortly after that, and started marketing to businesses, particularly to BIPOC businesses and communities.
Sounds great. So I know you're an entrepreneur yourself. So how has being like an entrepreneur maybe changed your like outlook on marketing or how you approach marketing versus being solely like a marketing professional?
Yeah, I don't think being an entrepreneur changed my perspective on marketing. I think my lived experience as a Black woman, as a
Mhm.
Black individual, um, from immigrant background, right? Like that really informed how I market because I feel like there was something missing in marketing, right? I'm very new to like for all intents and purposes, I'm new to marketing, right? There are people who have been doing this for decades, so I'm a bit new here, right? No matter how much people tell you, yeah, I'm seasoned, like no, we're all new here because digital marketing is changing every day, and I just felt like when I came into marketing it was very white, like it was glaringly white, like Snow White, and I was just like, I don't like this, and it's not befitting for me, and so. I think I like the way that I approach marketing is really just coming from a multicultural space, and thinking about empathizing with different audiences, how to talk about things, how to message things, how to reach certain people. Like when you think about marketing, you think about demographics. I was automatically coming into marketing thinking about psychographics because I'm new here and I'm trying to figure out how I can like interrupt and disrupt this space to make it better for the people we're trying to reach.
Yeah, thank you. That was very powerful. Do you have any advice for other people of color who are trying to start businesses or trying to break into like a similarly very like homogenous population?
I would say that you should follow me. I
Mhm.
have a platform called For All Things Digital.
Mm.
Aside from my marketing agency, it's actually the philanthropic part of our agency, and similar to what you all do, it is a free and open source platform. And so I have my agency, people pay my agency, we work for on their behalf, but we also have a free side because we realize that in order for people, particularly from BIPOC communities, marginalized communities, in order for them to succeed in business, right? Because we know that in order to be wealthy in this country, you need to have a business. Most millionaires are business owners, right? Billionaires are business owners. But how can people market their business if they don't have marketing skills? You know what I mean? Like, how can you get your business out there? I think most business owners are experts at what they do and not experts on how to sell it. And so I created a whole platform to answer that question, so different people from different communities can find free or low cost resources to jumpstart their business. I just feel like in the year 2025, I feel like, people will say, just go out there and get stuff done and figure it out. Like I know this is controversial, but I don't think we live in that world anymore. There's just too many free resources for us to be sending people out into the business world and just telling them to make all the mistakes when I already made the mistakes, right? Everyone that's ever made a mistake in business has written a book about it. Like you can learn from their mistakes. You don't need to make the same mistakes because what that does, what I've noticed doing this work for a bit, is that when black businesses, when brown businesses, Asian, when we fail, we literally fail. Like to the point where we can't even return back to business. And I know that failure in business is normal, but my job and the work that I've been doing is to help people get access and be able to sustain, the support that they're getting in their businesses. So even if their business fails, they're still able to pivot into other areas. And so all to say that I have this platform that really helps people break into marketing and break into business with all of the free resources that are out there. This I'm talking about registering your business, those costs, right? Because everything with business, costs money. And so I built a whole platform around this. So if anybody's watching this later, the platform is called For All Things Digital.
Yeah, thank you. That's great. So how, like, when you start a business, why is marketing important? Like, why should business owners have like social media accounts and reach out to people via social media?
It's a great question. I have a slogan in my business and it says, if you're in business, marketing is your business, right? If you're a business owner, you are also a marketer. It's the same thing. So even when you go to get your MBA, they'll tell you your business plan. Well, your business plan is actually just a marketing plan. It's the same exact thing as a marketing plan. You can't have a business plan without a whole, like 50% or 60% of that plan being the marketing strategy of how you're going to bring this to market, right? And so I think that mind shift for business owners really, but that entrepreneurial mind shift really helps business owners understand that, yes, I have this business, I'm really good at it, I'm the best at it. In fact, I know everything about it, but I also need to be a marketer so I can take this and spread this out and create awareness about it and promote it. And so I'm a big believer that marketing is essential, right? Like it literally is business. If you're in business, you're in the marketing business. And if you don't know how to market, that is a surefire way for your business to fail.
Mm. Yeah, so on the topic of marketing being really important, how does like marketing or even the specific services that you provide help small businesses optimize their digital assets without like large budgets?
Yeah, I mean, well, first of all, we provide them that with all the free resources that we have access to.
Mm.
I don't think digital asset is a really big issue for small businesses because again, there's so many free resources out there. I think the biggest digital asset for businesses that are a big barrier are things like websites, right? Because websites are platforms that you own. And so I know social media is important, big believer in that. Like 50% of my clients are social media clients, so we manage all of their socials and stuff. But the
Mm.
reality is, these platforms are becoming harder and harder and harder to grow on. I mean, Mark Zuckerberg and his team at Meta, excuse me, Adam Mosseri, who's actually the head of Instagram, literally made a report earlier this year, late last year, talking about how the algorithm works. And Instagram, up until that point, had never ever admitted how their algorithm works. So as a business owner, you're literally fighting against millions of other people to be seen. And so at my company, we're really big on ensuring that people have digital assets that they own, which is a website. A website is such a valuable thing. It's literally your digital real estate. And
Mm.
so that's where we really put our focus. And as far as that, my company has a a equitable business model where about I would say 80 to 85% of our clients right now are working with us free of charge. So we still get paid, but they're working with us through grant funding that we help them find or through some of our partners. So anytime a client comes to me, if they don't have money, we actually help them find the funding to work with us through our various partners or through grant funding. So little tidbit, I'm a professional grant writer and have won hundreds of thousands of dollars worth of grant funding. This is money that businesses don't have to pay back. And so I kind of mix all of my skills with writing, right? Remember I told you I was a published writer. I was writing is my first love. Kind of mix that work with this to help businesses get access because the most expensive digital asset your business will probably acquire is your website.
Yeah. So I know an important part of marketing is like curating a comprehensive or like a very unique brand identity. So for entrepreneurs who are just like hitting the ground with their business, what is like a good way or like a good process to start like curating and developing a brand identity that's unique?
Yeah, I think our brand identity comes from the heart, and it
Mm.
really does come from understanding your customers. Like people always struggle with brand identity, and I'm like, how? That's a immediate red flag to me. You don't know who your customers are. That's exactly why you're struggling. You have no idea who they are. You don't know how they talk. You don't know what they want. You don't know what they eat, what they like, what they don't like. Like once you start to understand your audience a bit better, I don't care if you have five customers, like survey them and talk to them because that's where brand identity comes from. Now you're creating the messaging, you're creating the colors, you're creating the fonts, you're creating um the audio, right? The audio visual part of your brand to match what people say they want. So I think business owners oftentimes, we think our business is for us. No, it's for others. That's why you created it so that other people can benefit, so other people can utilize your resources, services, or products. And so you should be creating it for them. And I think a lot of businesses fail because they're not actually speaking the language of their customer. You know what I mean? Like I know that sounds so simple, but it really truly is that simple. So when you think about really successful brands like Pepsi and Coca-Cola and Chipotle and Kava and all, I mean, Elf Beauty, I don't even wear makeup. Like I'm like, wow, like they're speaking my language. If I did wear makeup, I would totally buy this, right? While I don't wear makeup, I still use products, right? And they have products for me, right? So I think it's really, really important to understand who your audience is and like I said before, not only think about the demographics, but the psychographics. What are they thinking? What are they feeling? What do they need? And you create your brand identity, excuse me, based off of that, not based off of what you want, not based off of how pretty you think you are, how nice you think. Like it has nothing to do with you. It has everything to do with the people who keep coming back to your business and being sure that you're speaking to them continuously.
Mm. Yeah. So pivoting here to AI, as AI is rolling out in different like diverse sectors across our lives, what do you think the role of AI is in marketing?
Yeah, I love this question because AI is so new. Like anyone that claims to be an AI expert, unless they actually are an AI expert, I literally work at a university, and our President Ayoun, literally wrote the book on artificial intelligence 30 years ago, right? So like that's one thing, but like anyone that claims they're an AI expert is lying. Like it's such a new technology. We haven't even scratched 20% of the surface of AI. And so the way that AI works in our life is that we should just be learning it. We should be utilizing it and we should be testing out what works and doesn't work. And I think the role that it plays in marketing is that it makes and streamlines our work and efficiency. And so I kind of come from the school of hard knocks by I had to go to the library and dig through aisles and find the right book to get a source for my college paper. I kind of come from that world, and so AI is just amazing because number one, I think it democratizes who has access to knowledge, but I also recognize that it can be a crutch and it's also creating a sea of sameness because everybody's utilizing it. And so, people keep telling you the future of work is AI. And I said, no, the future of work is creativity. It's whoever is able to actually still be creative and use AI to support the work, right? Right? To organize your notes, organize your doc, give you ideas, but you're really coming up with something original and innovative. And so that's why I think AI, I think it plays a really positive role. So many people have started businesses because they have access to AI, they have access to knowledge. Just imagine um when enslavement happened and you have all of hundreds, thousands, millions of Black people coming out of slavery, enslavement, and they didn't know how to read and write, right? We have higher reading rates back then, the time that's like enslavement was over, than we do right now. Right. And so when you have access to technology, what happens is that the people who didn't have access to information before, they begin to utilize it vigorously and use it to build themselves up. And I only hope that, AI is something that, we can keep around for the long term so that people can learn. But again, my whole thing with AI is that people should be studying it. There's free AI courses all over the internet. Take it and not just use it for like menial things, actually learn it and become an AI engine prompt engineer. Like that's a whole career right now. I'm a prompt engineer by trade, so I know how to create prompts for generative AI that gives us optimal outputs. But that's something that like as a marketer, everyone needs to learn. It's like when the website boom happened in the early 2000s, like people only had brick and mortars or passing out flyers and the internet came and everybody was kind of slow to get on it. AI is the same thing. Like we're in the AI rush. And so this is a great time to learn, get ahead of the curve, and be an expert, in the next few years in this space.
Yeah, that's great. Can you share some specific examples of how one can use AI to like optimize marketing campaigns or maybe improve branding efforts?
Yeah, I mean, I think the way that I've seen people use it and the way I've used it when it comes to our campaigns is that you need to create the campaign. At the end of the day, AI is an input-output space. It is not a brain, it is not a human, and it will never have that touch. So again, that prompt engineering is really important. So you create the campaign and you could feed the AI here. Here's the campaign I have. Tell me if you think this is effective for this audience, right? Because if you have a business, I'm sure you have multiple audiences or multiple personas. Tell me if it works for this persona, this audience. Give me your ideas and give me feedback and help me curtail, that feedback that you just gave me. And that's how, my company has used AI. But I think it's really important to create the marketing campaign first. I've seen so many people go to AI and say, make this for me. And yes, people have come out with really incredible, cool, innovative things. But for the most part, it's still the sea of sameness. You know what I'm saying? And so it's really important as a creative to create the original work and you use AI as something to support your work, to help you come up with ideas, to strengthen and fine-tune what you've already created. Because remember, this is output and input. I mean, input and output type of thing. And so that's the way I think it's best used so that again, you don't fall victim to just being the same as someone else or even having the same type of wording or name or whatever, because again, it's the sea of sameness everywhere.
Yeah. So how can one measure the success or effectiveness of a branding and marketing campaign since we've been talking a lot about it throughout this interview?
Thing I love about marketing because I absolutely hate numbers. Like I could have did anything in life. And I couldn't tell you that I could be a marketer when I was younger because digital marketing didn't exist when I was younger, right? But one thing I love about it and what attracted me to marketing is that you get to create your own wins, right? You get to determine what you feel like is a key performance indicator in your campaign. So I've had campaigns that, yeah, we didn't get a lot of likes and followers, but we got a lot of engagement and a lot of sales. Like people didn't feel the need to like fully follow us, but they saw it, they bought it, and they loved it. And then eventually through, our remarketing and relationship building, they eventually followed us. They became loyal, right? So marketing is iterative, marketing is a process. And so your success is determined by what you deem as successful, right? Like marketing is not sales. Like sales is all about numbers. It's like we did this and this much money has to come out of it. Marketing and branding, like that's a little bit different, right? Same umbrella, but really different. And so you determine what you deem as successful. And for us, what's successful for us is that we've built a relationship with a potential consumer. There's a statistic that people need 7 times, like I think they call it 7 touches in order to like convert. So that means they need to have interacted with your brand 7 times. Like, how the heck am I gonna do that, right? That means that you're doing multi-channel marketing, right? You're doing Instagram, you're doing Facebook, you're doing, ads, you're doing email, you're doing a lot of different things to kind of convince people to to convert. And for me, conversion is a win. Any type of conversion. I don't care if someone shared my post, like that is a conversion. Someone felt compelled enough to not only watch this, to not only like it, but to share it with someone else and create more awareness for us. And so again, marketing, social media marketing, the KPIs and what you determine as success is something that you create with your team.
Yeah. In your response, you touched on a few obstacles that entrepreneurs face. So, can you elaborate on those obstacles? Like, what obstacles do entrepreneurs face in building or maybe even enhancing their online presence, excuse me, such as like on their website or even like their social media strategy?
Yeah, the one thing that I've typically seen people struggle with is just lack of information. I think I've talked about it before. It's like not really understanding like every part of everything, right? As a business owner, I can only imagine, like, I can imagine how overwhelming it can be to just run your business, right? Like you have to be in your business and then work on your business at the same time. It's a lot. So there's a lot of challenges there, but I think it's just the inability to go in depth. So for example, I can build a nice website design for you. That's anybody can do. AI can do that for you in 2 seconds. But one thing I've come across with a lot of my clients who come to me and say, "Hey, I have this website. I don't know what's going on. I'm not making no sales." I'm like, "Well, actually, there's this thing called UX design, and like, I'm sorry that the last person didn't explain this to you, but there's a whole world, right? There's literally people whose whole careers are to help um digital interfaces be more usable, user friendly, but also help people create to convert and create action out of them, right? And so that is something that, as a small business owner, if you're not well versed in marketing or don't have a degree or not fully immersed in that, you won't know that. All you know is that you have a nice website, it looks good, and you put it out there. But there's so much more to that, right? There's A/B testing, there's all sorts of stuff. So I think when it comes to particularly around marketing and digital and social, it's just that most business owners haven't even scratched the surface of what they need to do. And that's why we as marketers are so invaluable.
Yeah. Thank you for that. That was very helpful. So I think during our last portion here, I'd like to pivot specifically to the New York City market. So I know the New York City market is incredibly competitive for so many entrepreneurs who are looking to break into that market. So do you have any specific strategies to recommend for building brand awareness or standing out in that market specifically?
Yes, to be honest, New York is a really tricky place to run a business. It is small business central, so there's tons and tons of small businesses. New York probably has the most small businesses in America, if I'm not mistaken. So don't quote me on that. But one thing you can quote me on is that New York is the second hardest place for a small business in this country to survive. And so one thing that I've noticed that I think I don't see enough businesses utilize is the free small business resources and services that the NYC government and what's it called? Like, yeah, municipality offers. So this thing called NYC Small Biz, they have a ton of resources. They have um like a grant finder. They have different events. They recently, I think last month was, what month are we in? June? Yeah, last month in May, they had a small business summit. Like these are where decision makers, funders, and different opportunities for you to make money are happening. And I think it's absolutely a great way for you to stand out. And first of all, be informed of about what's going on. NYC Small Business not only supports small businesses with the things that they need, but helps them keep informed about what's happening on the Hill. So remember, I study political science, and what makes me stand out as a marketer is that I'm coming from many different lenses. I'm not just creating a nice website, creating cute brand, and letting you go about your business. I'm thinking about how you are being represented on the Hill. Because remember, we live in a country where everything we do is governed by laws and statutes and things of that nature. And there are a lot of small business laws out there, like how you can operate, what funding goes to who. Right now, there's something called the National Privacy Law, that is actually going to prevent a lot of businesses, even though it has good intentions, right, to protect people's privacy. It is also making it hard for digital marketers to reach certain people. So we can't collect cookies, we can't collect people's information anymore. Not now, but like this is things that are happening. And so I was actually invited to the White House to speak to this was last year, Biden's administration about the national privacy law and how it affects small businesses. These are the type of things that small business owners, right? They don't sign up for when they start a business, but they have to be informed. And New York specifically, because I think New York has some of the most fees for small businesses, has the most laws and restrictions for small business. I mean, if you want to start a restaurant and sell liquor, it's like nearly impossible. You need to have like hundreds of thousands of dollars ready to go. And most small business owners just don't have that for whatever reason. And so New York is definitely a harsh market. So anyone who is doing business in New York, honestly, round of applause to y'all because it is really tough. And New York is a tough place. If you can make it there, you can make it anywhere. But there are resources that are untapped, honestly untapped in New York. And so I'll say that.
Hey, thank you so much. I think we're going to end our video series here. I just want to thank you again for coming to talk with us. It's been very enlightening, as I can say, for both me and for all the small business owners who are watching.